The morning sun rose weakly over the Rift Valley, painting the plains in soft, amber light. Mist clung to the grasslands like a ghost of the night before, as distant calls of strange, ancient birds echoed through the air. The land was alive, restless, and raw, a place where survival itself was a sacred art. From behind a cluster of acacia trees, a small band of early hominins stirred from their sleeping nests woven high among the branches. They were not yet human as we know them, but something between what nature had shaped and what destiny would refine. Their arms were long and powerful, their faces broad with deep-set eyes that reflected the alertness of prey and the cunning of a rising predator. The leader, a female known by her group's subtle gestures as Araka, descended first, her feet gripping the bark like tools honed by instinct. Her dark, coarse hair tangled with leaves, her nostrils flaring as she tested the wind, the air carried the scent of ripened fruit, decaying carcass, and the musk of predators that never slept. Araka's people had learned to live not just in nature, but with it. Their diet was the mirror of their struggle, the constant balance between hunger and discovery. They scavenged the remains left by saber-toothed cats, pried marrow from cracked bones using sharpened stones, and foraged for tubers and roots hidden beneath the sun-baked earth. Each meal was a victory carved from chance. This morning, as the heat began to rise, two young males, Tauren and Muro, carried smooth stones and broken femurs, tools of their new age, crude, yet revolutionary. They followed vultures circling above the savannah, knowing the birds would guide them to what they could not yet hunt. When they found the carcass, a fallen antelope half-torn by hyenas, the air trembled with flies and stench. Still, they pressed closer, their eyes wide with both terror and hunger. Tauren swung his stone, breaking the bone in a single blow, and warm marrow oozed out rich, oily. Alive with the essence of survival. They ate quickly, their jaws cracking through sinew and tendon, while Muro watched the horizon, ready to flee if the hyenas returned. As they ate, they learned. Each chew was evolution. The taste of fat ignited energy their fruit diet never could. Their minds, faintly aware of cause and consequence, began to record these victories. Fire had not yet been born, but the spark of thought already glowed within them. When the sun fell low again, Araka led them to the riverbanks, where reeds grew thick and edible shoots whispered secrets of nourishment. Here, they plucked snails and crabs, their clever fingers prying life from shell and mud. They didn't yet cook, but they selected, a sign of choice, of judgment. When a crocodile's tail slid silently into the current nearby, Araka raised a hand, her sharp cry freezing the group. They waited, still as stones, until danger passed. Then the youngest among them, a child with large, curious eyes, mimicked her motion, learning the silent code of survival. The setting sun cast their shadows long against the earth, as they feasted on what they could find, fruits, insects, marrow, and roots, a diet forged not by abundance, but by adaptation. Every bite, every choice, was evolution whispering its promise: those who learn will live. Night fell like a curtain of ink across the valley, the stars burning white and fierce above the endless wild. Beneath them, the small group huddled close, wrapped in the warmth of bodies and instinct. They had no fire yet to keep the darkness away, but they had each other, and that was their beginning. The world around them was immense and merciless, filled with predators that prowled unseen and storms that could strip life from the land in moments. Yet in their small circle of trust, a new kind of power was taking shape. Araka watched the sky, her mind reaching beyond hunger. She felt the rhythm of the world, the call of distant rivers, the whisper of wind through the grass, the pattern of life and death repeating without end. It was here, in this fragile awareness, that humanity began to breathe. Their days grew into seasons, and their survival diet became a language of adaptation. They learned the taste of each landscape, the bitterness of certain roots that warned of poison, the sweetness of berries that signaled safety, the salt of blood that promised strength. When the rains came, they followed migrating herds, scavenging fresh kills from lions' leftovers. When the dry season baked the land into dust, they cracked open seeds and dug deep for water-filled roots, the way they had seen elephants do. Each generation carried forward the memories of the last, not in words, but in motion, mimicry, and silent understanding. Muro, now grown stronger, began to test his own ideas. He used a river stone not only to crack bones but to pound fibrous roots into pulp, softening them for the children and elders. It was not invention by design, it was survival by intuition, yet this single act marked the slow awakening of thought. Arica saw it and understood, in some ancient way, that her kind was changing. One morning, when a red dawn bled across the plains, they discovered a grove where fruit hung ripe and heavy, but guarded by a leopard resting in the branches. Instead of retreating, Tauren waited. He had learned patience from watching predators. When the leopard leapt away to chase a gazelle, the group rushed forward, gathering fruit, their hands quick and sure. For the first time, they had planned. That day they ate not from chance, but from foresight, and that changed everything. Their bodies grew stronger, their minds sharper. The survival diet was no longer a cycle of desperation, but a growing art of observation and timing. They had begun to read the world like a living book. When rain finally fell again, drenching the earth in silver, Arica's people danced beneath it, not in celebration, but in instinctive gratitude. Their cries echoed across the valley, half animal, half human, but filled with something eternal. The wind carried their scent, their sound, their story, the beginning of all our stories. And when the stars returned that night, reflected in pools of rainwater, Arica looked into them and saw not just the sky, but the future. A future where her kind would one day cook their meals, light their fires, name their children, and walk beyond the horizon. But for now, as the night deepened and the scent of wet earth rose around them, she lay close to her people, her stomach full and her heart quiet. In the silence of that ancient world, where every breath was survival, she dreamed not of gods or glory, but of tomorrow's meal. And that dream of finding, tasting, learning, and living would become the heartbeat of humankind for millions of years to come.